What up, your boy BQ here. This is the Impact Lounge, number one place to be for the Impact Wrestling fan. I'm on the last day of my vacation here, getting ready to head to the airport shortly, and should be a long day of travel. Anyway, I woke up this morning to the article. Many of you have probably seen this about, it was reported by Sportskeeda, who I don't usually put a whole lot of stock in, because they base a lot of their articles off strict opinion and try to deliver it as fact. But they seem pretty confident that Anderson and Gallows, the deal to Impact Wrestling, is a done deal. It was kind of reported before that it was near a done deal. They put a big money offer out to these guys, and this was a signing that is really a must for Impact. Now, if this happens, we're assuming it is happening at this point. A lot of people are quick to say, well, why don't they just go to AEW? Now, number one, if you look at the way the Lucha Brothers and Santana and Ortiz, not storyline wise, but as far as how they're delivered as a tag team in that division, if you look at how those teams are delivered, they were actually presented a lot better in Impact. Also, that tag team division is just loaded with way too many teams at this point. Now, something I had posted, I had spoke about on a podcast, was that, they desire to wrestle in Japan, and with the Impact schedule, you can do that. Taping television a couple days a month. That's not to include Impact Plus and Twitch. Maybe they don't do those shows, but when you record a couple days a month, you're able to travel for weeks at a time. You can't do that with the with the AEW schedule, because they do television one day a week. I don't think that's what they're doing right now, but obviously doing live television, they do it one day a week, so it's not going to be a possibility. So, Sportskeeda is saying they could show up at Slammiversary or after Slammiversary. Now, what this kind of tells me, and Impact has followed this formula for quite some time now, is that they're going to show up at the end of the tag team title match and call out the North. It seems like the North is getting Ken Shamrock and probably Sami Callihan as opponents. So, I don't really agree with that, because the North TJP and Fallah Bahh deserve to be in that spot at Slammiversary. I don't think they're going to be in that slot, and they really haven't had title defenses against like TJP, Fallah Bahh, Triple XL, Reno Scum, the Deaners. They had that weird match with the Deaners recently, but usually when the North defends the titles, it's been against Eddie Edwards and Tessa Blanchard and Eddie Edwards and Marufuji. It's always kind of makeshift teams of stars, but as far as the actual Impact tag team division, it feels like Impact doesn't have the confidence in those guys to wrestle the North for the titles ever. Same thing with RVD and Rhino. They just kind of keep putting teams together. The only team they really wrestle on a regular basis for the titles is the Rascals. So they do need some real competition in that division. That's why this potential signing, would be really, really important for Impact. But what I really see happening is the North retaining the titles, and then Anderson Gallows popping out at the end. That's usually the way it works when they debut someone. The champion retains, and then the challenger pops up afterwards. So I see something like that happening. Now, there's also some talk from the Sportskeeda article about I think they call it Talkin' Shop-A-Mania, their video podcast, possibly coming to Impact Plus, and that they've potentially already recorded some material for Impact Plus. So sorry if you guys can hear these birds in the background. Which I would really welcome, whether it's Impact Plus YouTube. I've been screaming for a long time now for Impact to start doing some original content, non-wrestling related, on their channel. Stop focusing on the TNA library so much, so it would be really welcomed from this fan if they were able to bring that aboard. And it's something popular, and this is a tag team with Buzz. That's the cool factor. And this is a couple guys who would bring eyes to the product, extra eyes. I've already seen some people in comments, there's always the Impact haters, and then there's the ones who are saying, I'm going to have to start checking out Impact now. So let me know what you guys think about this potential news, and how you could see them debuting. But I think it's going to be a very cookie cutter debut for the most part, because that's kind of just how they do it, how they've been doing it. You can even look at Deonna Purrazzo the other day showing up after Jordynne Grace defended her title. If you think Michael Elgin showing up after Brian Cage defended the title, that's just what Impact does. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. But speaking of Slammiversary, though, they also announced the #1 contender gauntlet battle royal for the knockouts. So that looks like it's going to be a cool match. It's featuring all the knockouts, but if you notice, it does not have Katie Forbes in it, which I don't understand that one, and it doesn't have Tennille Dashwood in it either. Now, Tennille, with the exception of her run prior to Bound for Glory last year, I mean, when have we really seen her on TV? We've seen her, like, I think, wrestle twice since then. She hasn't appeared to be a featured member of the Knockouts division by any means since Bound for Glory. So, what's her status? We don't really know, but I found it odd that Katie Forbes wasn't in there because I'm fairly certain she's with the company. Now, are we going to see some surprise debuts there? I would imagine, even though they're not announcing that, I would imagine in a couple weeks here, or not a couple weeks because that's going to be Slammiversary, but in a week or so, I think they're going to say, okay, we're going to see a couple surprises. We could see, Taylor Wilde, Taryn Terrell, something like that. They might treat it like the WWE Women's Royal Rumble where, they, for nostalgia reasons, they brought in a couple names, but they're not really part of the company. Or maybe it is some people returning. We don't know. Now, people have been saying, what about the Knockouts tag team thing? I think there's going to be a slow build to this. I know they're kind of putting teams together on TV, but I think Slammiversary would have been too soon to introduce that. So I could see a slower build up to Bound for Glory and the Knockouts tag team titles returning there, because there's already a lot of buzz behind Slammiversary. So we got to give Bound for Glory something, because the Call Your Shot Gauntlet Battle Royal was ultimately a dud. So they need to give us something to really look forward to for that show, because it's going to be hard to follow up after Slammiversary and everything they've been teasing and everything that they're probably going to do. So it gives them some more time to incorporate some more knockouts potentially, or put a couple teams together that aren't already together. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think that's going to be a good show, a good match, I should say. And I'm looking forward to that one quite a bit. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. This is the #1 place to be for the Impact Wrestling fan and Impact Wrestling talk and all that good shit. I need to start getting packed and all that. So I'll talk to you soon. Peace.